I've been working with SoberLink for a while now, and the reason is because of what happened to my client. I'm going to tell you the story of what happened to my client, but I'm going to change a few things so that I can protect his privacy. My client was dad. He'd been married for about 15 years. He and his wife had been on the rocks, but they had reconciled, and they were going to therapy, and he thought everything was good, but it wasn't good. And one evening she told him she was done, she wanted him to move out, and she said that she was going to be moving across the country with her children. And that's what she said. She called them her children. So my client dad was pretty devastated. He was angry. He didn't want to fly off the handle. He didn't want to escalate the situation, so he left. He went to a friend's house. He and that friend started drinking, and on the way back home, he got pulled over and he got a DUI. Mom used this DUI as evidence for why dad should not have the kids and why she should be allowed to move across the country. So she fabricated all this evidence saying that he was an alcoholic, and my client was not an alcoholic. He did get a DUI, but he was not an alcoholic. He didn't have a drinking problem. He'd never had a drinking problem during their marriage. He just had a single incident after a really, really bad day. But the wife showed up in court for temporary orders requesting to relocate and had all sorts of stories about how my client was unsafe to be around the children and needed supervised parenting time. If the court had ordered that, my client would have lost the relocation and his children would have ended up living across the country away from him. So we volunteered to do SoberLink as a condition of equal parenting time. And what the judge did is he said, fine, I'm not going to allow the relocation for right now. I'm going to have equal parenting time between these parties. Dad's going to use SoberLink during his parenting time to show that he can be sober, and then we'll come back. And if dad can't stay sober, then mom, I'm going to grant your relocation request. My client was skeptical. He didn't know if this was a good idea. He's like, Billy, why you want to sign me up for this? Well, here's how it works. So this is the device comes in something like this, and it looks like this. You put a straw in and then you blow into it at certain times to prove your sobriety. There's a little camera right here that takes a picture of you or uses facial recognition in order to see if it's you, the person that you're supposed to be blowing into the device. And what happened for this client, even though he didn't love the idea, he thought it was invasive, he didn't want to do it, but the risk of losing we could tell that the judge was giving mom's story a lot of weight, and the risk of losing his children to a relocation across the country was worth it for him. So he said, yes, Billy, I will trust you. I will use SoberLink. We did that for 6 months before a final orders hearing, and he wasn't an alcoholic. It proved his sobriety. Mom knew the writing was on the wall, that she wasn't going to be able to move with the kids, and she ended up agreeing to equal parenting time. They settled their divorce and they moved forward. I consider this to be a huge win for everybody. The kids didn't lose either parent. The kids now have both of their parents in their life. They don't have to travel back and forth across the country. They don't have their dad painted as an alcoholic when he wasn't. And it was a great proactive way to demonstrate to the court to disprove mom's lies and to show that he was a safe and sober parent. My question is, would you do it? If you had to prove your sobriety, would you use something like SoberLink, like alcohol tracking on the regular to show that you were sober? Let me know.